It's so fall aesthetic out my window right now. It's great. Yay! Hey Nick.
Am I in?
Yep, you are in. Do I sound okay?
Sound great. Do I sound okay? My Wi-Fi is horrible out here.
Honestly, same because I live right next to a farm. You're in LA, right? You're in LA right now?
Yeah, but I have not very good internet.
Gotcha. Well, I hear you. Usually the people who have like connection issues are those from like across the pond, like Mikey Demas. I don't know, like for some reason that might interfere. I'm not sure. The connection.
Yeah,
But yeah, anyways, hello, you guys. I'm interviewing Nick today. I guess we're gonna get right into it because we got a lot of people tuning in. Tell me about the Hotel Cafe gig that you're playing in November, and just tell me how you've been in general, and any other upcoming live performances. Kind of get
yeah,
promo.
cool. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, of course.
So yeah, I literally just moved out here like a month ago. So
Yeah.
I had played when I was just hanging out in June out here. I played a small hotel cafe show that was really last minute. Like I'm talking like a week before I booked it. They had an available slot. So I did that, and then we played the small room, and now we're playing the bigger room, the main stage. Got my cheat sheet. November 30th at 9:30 p.m. for anyone who's in the Cali area. Um, yeah, it's gonna be fun. We got I think it's a five-piece band this time. It was a trio last time, but I think this time we get a five-piece band, which is gonna be it's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be some nice energy in there with the
Yeah,
and I've actually never been to like the hotel cafe, but I'm on their email list and everything, so I
yeah,
might even like a notification for your show. So that's really cool. Like he said, if you're in the area, go check them out at that show.
yep. Right
That's
after Thanksgiving, everyone should be back, so we'll
very
see.
awesome. So, tell me about, are there any differences between the Boston music scene compared to LA? And how has each place shaped your playing in a unique way? I know that might be a strange question, but I know that each music scene is pretty unique, you know? They are.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question, and it's a very valid question. So, like I said, I've only been here I think 5 weeks, but so Boston, at least in my experience, because I only really started playing live shows about a year and a half ago. I had played like acoustic, like some acoustic gigs here and there, but I had my first real concert last July, and ever since then, just been playing nonstop with a trio I formed with some good friends of mine. Um, yeah, Boston's cool because well, you get a lot of Berkeley kids, obviously, because Berkeley's in Boston. Um, so I mean, we get a lot of Berkeley kids, and it seems that the music scene in Boston, in terms of like really talented people, is young because the Berkeley kids are in college, and then most of them, when they graduate, they move either to like New York or they move out to LA or somewhere. Um, but I used to live in the outskirts, like 20 minutes north of Boston, and it's got a nice like little blues scene. Like I found my group of people really really talented people, like an older crowd of blues players, and they were really really good and great at like helping me with things that I'm not familiar with. Um, as far as being out here, like everyone I've seen is just like insane, like incredible musician, and it
Yeah.
can be detrimental to your confidence, but at the same time it's like you got to just because someone's better doesn't mean they're better. Someone could be much more technically inclined with guitar, for example, but it's just about finding your voice. So I'm trying to find that, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out the difference between being really good and like being a listenable person. um, but like as far as like the scenery, so I've started working on other music different than what I'm used to, and definitely like just being out here, it's such a culture shock from Boston, and it's cool to see like different, you know, it's just such a different vibe. So it's definitely inspiring for sure. I've written some stuff that I probably would not have if I was still in Boston, but Yeah, so it is cool. It's definitely different.
That was an awesome answer, and I really love what you said about like when somebody is better, they're not necessarily better because
Yeah,
everyone has their own style and their own voice, and sometimes just finding you and being unique, that's the most important thing.
yeah,
Because I, in fact, I will never ever be the best shredder ever. It's just
me neither.
not. And I've even hosted shred collabs, so it's just that thing. And I think that you've got your own thing going, which is like when I think of your guitar playing, I can hear it in my head, and I can hear your phrases and your style. So I think that's very important as a player. You
Thank you.
yeah, of course. I think you're already like obviously well on your way with that, so that's great.
Thank you. I'm
Um,
trying hard, but
yeah, and you'll keep playing more shows, so that'll be awesome.
yeah, of
And
course.
come to New York, definitely. We got a great scene. So some videos that you've posted on guitar, this is a mouthful a little bit. They're also accompanied by your own keyboard playing and your own vocals. So this can sound very groovy. And sometimes you even incorporate these modern like synthy elements. When it comes to mixing, how do you go about layering your guitar parts on? Do you have like a certain process that you go through?
Oh, that's a good question. So I am the worst mixer, master. My friends who I've worked with will tell you, oh, it's so bad. I just compress everything. Like I squash everything with a compressor. It's so bad. But I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I've been focusing more on like pop kind of music, like modern indie pop. That's like a throwback to the 80s type stuff. But I want guitars involved in that. So, I mean, that's the goal is to like, I'll start something with the keyboard and then I'll throw in guitar, like whatever I hear guitar over that. Um, and that the vocal melodies are an issue. I struggle with melodies a lot, but if I get a good chord progression on the keyboard and then like add some synth production elements to it, just as a demo, nothing serious. Um, Playing the guitar over that is usually super easy because that's what like I've been doing forever. As opposed to someone else who this is why I'm looking to collaborate with people because someone else who's been doing production and keyboards forever might have the same issue I have as that with guitar, and therefore we can combine and try to make it as great as it can be. So yeah, it's like it usually starts with a keyboard like chord progression, and then I'll either write some sort of guitar melody or something over or try to. And then I always want to incorporate guitar solos into everything. So
Yeah, man. I think that guitar is like kind of coming back to the mainstream, if you will, anyways. This is something that Hayden Maringer was saying. That's like his goal to bring guitar back to mainstream.
yeah,
And I think, you could easily do that too. Because, like you said, you're kind of getting into the thing, but you're still a blues guy and all of that. Like, I saw somebody comment John Mayer, and I know he's one of your influences. So it's
yeah.
really, a really good blend of influences. And that makes for interesting recordings.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta, it's all about taking your influences and making your own sound. You know what I
Right.
mean? You don't
Yes.
want to try too much to be like that person because then you'll just be a copy, which
Mm.
I've been called in the past. It's okay. It's part of the process. But
All
uh,
better, I feel like, as artists. You kind of go through this phase where you're trying to sound like somebody a lot, and then you kind of go,
yeah,
I'm doing my own
exactly.
thing. I don't know. You ease into it naturally.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's talk about some of your influences. Players you have been seen honoring on your page include Jimi Hendrix, John Mayer, of course, Prince, The Police, and the 1975 recently.
Mm.
Explain why these artists are some of your top picks to cover on guitar. Why do you like them?
Yeah. So my three biggest influences, like core, because like I know people might say that John Mayer is one of them, which he is. But my three core influences are Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, Peter Frampton, and then Prince. So Jimmy Page, I was listening when I was like 3 or 4 years old. My dad was playing Led Zeppelin and Peter Frampton and all these classic rock people. It's just what I grew up listening to. I didn't really listen to much mainstream radio, which I'll explain after how I came to find like those bands that we grew up with, like Blink 182, Matchbox 20. Like I didn't discover those till like later on in life because I was so used to the classic rock stuff. So Jimmy Page is like one of the Jimmy Page and Peter Frampton were the reason I wanted to start playing guitar, and it's just you go through influences, you go through bands you love, and then you don't listen to them for a while because you kind of overdo it. But every time I go back to like Led Zeppelin or Peter Frampton, I'm just like, this is why he's the reason. So even though it might not be too apparent, which it isn't, because I don't play too much like Led Zeppelin stuff on my, in public. Definitely two of my favorites, or the reasons why I wanted to play. I used to hate John Mayer growing up because everyone in my class used to say like, "Can you play this John Mayer song?" And I'd be like, I had just such this like mentality that like new music sucked because my dad didn't like new music. So I was just kind of like, oh, like it's not good. So it like only up until I think it was like senior year of high school I started listening to John Mayer, and then I realized he was such a good guitar player. And Jimmy Page and Peter Frampton, although being very different styles, they play similarly in terms of like they both play Les Pauls, they both play humbucker guitars, whereas John Mayer, like Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, they have a different style. They play a lot of double stops. They play Stratocasters. So, I never played a Strat until high school. So I was always like Les Paul, humbuckers, like I hated single coils. And then when I started listening to John Mayer and like, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix and stuff, which were a part of my childhood, Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan. Just I didn't dive deep until John Mayer because he always speaks highly of them. So that helped me. That's another reason why John Mayer is one of my biggest influences, because he exposed me to all this other depth of music, you know what I mean? So yeah, like, once I started playing Stratocasters, you kind of just play like those people. Like it's hard to play like playing a Les Paul or like playing a PRS with humbuckers is so different than playing a Stratocaster. And it's cool because like you pick it up and you feel like a different player. So
Right.
yeah, and then something like the 1975, it's just like a band, like a pop band that's like just sounds old, like old school, like not classic rock, but like something out of the 80s or something. They're like,
Yeah, classic all
yeah,
rock, classic pop rock. I don't know.
yeah, their guitars are awesome. The production is really what gets me with them. The thing is, it's like the older I get, I used to just want to play guitar. Now I'm like looking into production for my own music and like other people's stuff. And like it's so cool because like people don't realize what production really is. In like you could be playing like you could write a song with 3 chords and a melody and it sounds like nothing, and then a good producer comes in and they add so much. Like
Yeah,
it's
so many.
crazy.
Right.
So like like I'm more influenced by bands now, due to production, because like some of the songs are so simple, but the production's amazing. So
Yeah.
such a wide, like I'm inspired by so many different types of artists.
Yeah, like production and tone can be two key things in music 100%.
Yeah, it's so overlooked.
Mm,
People don't realize that, it's the decisions made with like how the guitar is played and what pickup selection is. Like it's just there's so much that goes into music that I can always I pay a lot of attention to detail. Like I when I'm listening to a song, I think like, oh, they should have used this pickup selection instead. Like instead of using the middle and bridge, they should have used like just the bridge or something. I get like super nerdy about it. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's good though. That's good that you've developed that sense of like, I know like what needs to be on my record. And
yeah. What I like and what I don't like.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference, yo. It really
Sure.
truly does. I feel like this is a good question for you. If you could play guitar for one artist, dead or alive, who would you choose? Who would it
So
be?
yeah, I thought about this earlier and I've changed my mind. So, like I said, I didn't talk much about Prince earlier, which I should have when I was just talking about my influences. He's like my overall like number one influence because he wrote everything, produced everything, like sang everything, played every drum track, played every guitar. So I was leaning towards Prince, but at the same time, he was really tough on his musicians. You had to be perfect. Like you were rehearsing sometimes like 20 hours a day. It shows. But the more I thought about it, like I think I would choose Steely Dan.
Nice.
I think it would be Steely Dan's guitar player.
And I could totally see that too as well.
I don't think I could do it, but I would love to try it.
Yeah,
Art
dude,
gig.
for sure. Like definitely maybe like post some more covers too. Some Steely Dan
Yeah,
covers.
I know I should. I'm trying to learn the "Don't Take Me Alive" solo, one of those Larry Carlton solos, and oh,
Yep.
it's just so different, you know. And
Mm,
that's anyone in here who wants to learn guitar or is learning. If you learn guitar solos from songs, they teach you so much. It gives you so many different, like Larry Carlton is the one who played on these Steely Dan records, and he plays so differently than John Mayer. So if you learn the Gravity solo and then you learn "Don't Take Me Alive" solo, it's just so many different styles, and then you can just put them in your repertoire. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's good. That's good to have like a diverse repertoire of stuff. Cause then you got like
Yeah.
this huge, massive skill set. And
Yeah, you have to. You know what I mean? Unless you don't want to be a one-trick pony. So.
yeah, no one trick ponies. I mean, but if you are, that's cool. That's
Oh
okay.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
always a need for like Mikey Demus said something that I like appreciated that there's always a need for cover bands. Given I'm not a cover band, but there's always like
Yeah.
cover bands. Like there's local scenes, whatever. Like bars want that, touring venues want that, but
Listen,
yeah,
I love showing up to a dive bar and just playing blues covers all night. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Nothing wrong with that at all. Zach
yeah,
Brown is a cover band, aren't they?
yeah.
Mostly.
I do believe so, but yeah, we, you know, do whatever.
Whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to play, there's never a wrong answer.
Whatever
Never.
shine, whatever makes it shine. As for me,
Yes.
I can't put myself in a box. I just can't. Like I have to play like pop, rock, blues.
Yeah,
Maybe it's an
of
artist
course.
thing.
Yeah, no,
Prob-
that's great. That's what you want.
oh yeah, for sure. So, I, our audience is probably going to want to talk about gear a little bit. You're a proud owner of a PRS, a Gibson Flying V, two guitars, which I'm very jealous of, several acoustics. Are there any guitar companies that you'd like to shout out or work with? Like maybe.
Yeah, I so this is I got it right here. This is the one. This is my favorite.
That's gorgeous. I love
Thank
like the ombre effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like I would call it my number one, but I don't take it out too often. Um, it's
Got
got scratches on it. I need to stop. Like it's an expensive piece of gear, but at the same time, it's like it's a tool to do this job. As long as I'm not like, look at this. I took a giant chunk out of it the other day.
Oh, dude. Honestly,
Yeah.
well, I've done worse. My new sawtooth, brand new, has a giant crack along the back, and I don't even know
Oh,
how it got there in the first place. But
oh,
hey,
that's thanks. Yeah.
you could
So
put a top of it or something like a jewel.
yeah, I probably will because it bothers me that much. And then I have something like this,
Yep,
that
that.
Droid.
Yep.
I have. So the Flying V I have is actually a 1987 Greco.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
which is funny because I bought it and it had a Gibson truss rod cover on it, and I was like, you know what, I'm totally leaving that there. Um,
Yeah.
I will tell people here, but when you're at a bar and someone's like really drunk and they're like, "Oh my God, dude, that's a Flying V," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, isn't it awesome?" So it's just, it's cool. That guitar's all right. It's hard to play. It needs some work. I don't really get my guitar set up like I should. Um, I will shout out Heritage. They're the Heritage guitar I have. It's like a Les Paul shape. Awesome. One of my favorite guitars to play. Probably my second favorite guitar to play. That one and this PRS, they're similar in many ways. And then, I'll shout out LaGrange and Music Man. LaGrange, I think he changed to Ben Wasserworks out in Jerusalem, in Israel. He sent me a guitar that it was just unbelievable. I don't even know what it's made of. I have no idea. It just plays fantastically. I wish I brought them all out. They're all in the studio.
That one sounds mad interesting too. It's like a
Yeah.
mystery instrument that's like perfect.
Give me like 2 seconds. I can grab it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's like worth it. If I just got a mystery guitar like that, by the way, you guys, while Nick is running to get his instrument, if you have any questions you want to ask him, type it in the comments box because we'll take a few.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's got this like, I think it's kind of like a dog hair, like grain wood. I don't know. It has a Bigsby, and it stays in tune.
Oh, that's
I don't know. It's just fantastic. I'm very, very, very lucky to have such amazing guitars because I didn't have great guitars until recently, and I'm just so grateful to have them. So yeah, I mean, I mainly play my PRS. I play this white Strat. I have a Silver Sky I play too that I usually bring along with the Strat. It depends on the gig, honestly. Sometimes I'm feeling humbuckers, and I'll bring the PRS in the Heritage. And then if I'm feeling single coils, I'll bring the Strat and the Silver Sky. I try not to do gigs where I use both humbuckers and single coils. I find for me, this is just a me thing because no one take this with a grain of salt. I cannot set up an amp and pedals for the single coils and the humbuckers to sound good interchangeably. So I'll be playing a single coil all night. I'll plug in the humbucker guitar, and then it's just way too distorted and gross. And
Gotcha.
it's weird because there's so much different output. Like, a humbucker is basically two single coils, and the output's so much hotter, and then the single coils have such a thinner sound. So, one day if I ever get a guitar tech, he can deal with that.
Yeah, honestly, if anybody in the comments is like a guitar tech, we commend you because I've seen the struggles.
Yeah.
Like a lot to be a guitar tech. Like you have to absorb so much knowledge into your brain. So
yeah, not
here's
easy.
guys. But yes. When soloing on stage, is there like an effects pedal that you use, or do you have a favorite amp? Like speaking of deck kind of stuff.
I do, yeah. So I got 3 of my favorite pedals right here. So this is my very good friend Mike. He's at Tone Tuga. He's based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tone Tuga Effects, unreal. I haven't used this one in a while. The main 2 pedals I use from him are actually on my pedal board. This is his Aegis drive. It's a dual overdrive, and you can switch the phase. You can have like this drive before this, or switch it and have this before this. He just makes great pedals, and they're great prices. I mainly use his Songbird, which is a transparent overdrive, and then I'll use his Delphine, which is a dual delay pedal. That's my favorite delay. And I believe that he does a lot of work with saving the oceans and the turtles. So he calls himself Tone Tuga. I don't know if you can see the little turtle there.
Guys, go support these pedals.
Yes.
When I put up, I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, he's
love that. It's cool.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and he's the man, and he makes great stuff. So definitely shout out to Mike and Tone Tuga. Also, Pedal Pond, they're out in the UK, but I don't know if they're in London. I don't know where they are exactly. He's gonna get mad at me if he sees this and doesn't know. But this is, he makes insane pedals. Oh my God, they're so good. They're all like, copies of like stuff that Stevie Ray, Jimi Hendrix would use. Like this is like sort of like a Dallas art. I don't know exactly what this is. I forget what this. I should have been prepared. I have a fuzz from him. This is like a treble booster type thing,
Okay.
and I have a gypsy. I have a univibe from him, and then I have an octave fuzz from him, and so good.
Good stuff indeed.
Yeah, and then this is a Klon.
Ooh.
This is not for all the gear. Some people will know this, the gear nerds. The Klon Centaur is an overdrive pedal that a guy made. It was basically doesn't enhance the sound. It just keeps your sound with a beautiful creamy overdrive over it. The main pedals are much bigger than this, and they have like a little horseman on them. Those were made in like the 90s, I want to say, and they are going for like anywhere from like $5,000 to $10,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah, ridiculous. This one is the second. He only made 2 rounds of pedals. He made that pedal and then this one. They say that, or he claims, and I believe him because I've done I've done a test with them. He claims they are the same circuit, which it is. And so this is a way cheaper one, but it sounds identical. So it really is worth the hype. They're a little expensive. I got it for a good deal, like a long time ago. But yeah, the Klon I use with Tone Tuga and then Pedal Pawn, and I use Origin effects. I use Sabatius effects. So there's just so many great gear companies that I use. And then for amps, I use 2 amps, sometimes 2, sometimes 1, but I use them just as much as each other. Victory V40 Deluxe. They're a UK company, I believe UK. I know they're out in Europe. It's just a fantastic amp. It's a combo, 40-watt combo. I'll bring that if I don't have much room in the car, or I don't have, I have to set up something quick. I'll just bring the combo and just drop it. Then I use Amplified Nation. It's one guy and his wife, Taylor Cox. He's unreal, good friend of mine, and he built me an amp called the what is it called? The Overdrive. Oh man, he does like Dumble style amps.
Nice.
Oh wow, how am I forgetting? It's like I can't even say. It's literally right over there in the other room. I can't think what it's called. It's that Overdrive amp. Unreal though, great amp. And when you put the Victory and that together, it sounds like nothing I've ever heard before in my life.
Probably.
So. What was that?
Probably booming.
It's so booming.
Booming in the best way.
Yes. Loud is always better.
Yeah, somebody commented, they were like, hey, you have an interesting personality. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And
Love the energy.
We have some fan questions. So I do want to say I only have like 2 left for 3. There is a questions tab. I'm going to be scrolling up, but there is a questions tab we can both see as well. If you want to type anything away, you guys. So let's see, going through. This is a mouthful. For new players and long time it can be difficult to balance showing off technique with maintaining a memorable melody. What is your advice for staying memorable as a player?
Ooh, cool question. Yeah, so like I was never a shredder really. Like I never played really fast. There's nothing wrong with that. One of my favorite guitar players, Eddie Van Halen, plays very fast. But it's hard to remember. Think about it. Like if you could probably hum so many guitar solos in pop songs, or like a John Mayer solo. Like you can hum them in your ear. You probably cannot hum a metal solo or like an Eddie Van Halen solo. Again, no Eddie Van Halen slander here. I love him. I'm just saying, for me, being memorable is more important than showing off your speed. it's one thing when you're playing live and you're taking an extended solo. Yeah, you throw in some of the impressive stuff, but in terms of making music, I like to get like some sort of yeah, memorable melody or something that isn't too complicated. Dissonant tones, um, just something that is memorable. I think it's to me, I like being memorable is more important than too much technique or anything. Like I don't even really know that many scales or anything. Um, what sounds good to the ear. You know what I mean?
It's real important to have a good ear. Real
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
I
some of my friends are just born with amazing ears. It's crazy.
Yeah, somebody commented like Slash. Yeah, like I forget who said it, but I think it might have been Jack Ryan Sullivan, the co-manager of Norms out in Cali. He had said like if you don't have a good ear, you probably don't have anything when it comes to
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
Which is
and just
fun.
listen.
It might be a bit true in some circumstances, especially when it comes to like improv and stuff like that. I at least think people with who have at least trained their ear have it maybe a bit easier. It's just my opinion. Just my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, no, it definitely helps. Theory helps. Having some sort of training definitely helps.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a balance. That's what I always say.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you just said you're not a shredder, but that doesn't mean that you don't know any difficult music or that you're not capable of having these, impressive techniques, etc. So, what is the most difficult riff that you think you've ever learned or had to learn?
Ooh, so I, so riff definitely. So it took me forever to learn how to play Little Wing. It's to get it right. You can play it, but to get it right with the double stops and the feel and just the pressure you put with your right hand, and it's it's so it's hard. Like to get it right. Like I said, like you don't have to play it exactly how it was recorded. I like to do that to see how it, just to get that feel. Little Wing was really hard. Neon by John Mayer was really hard.
Uh,
Um,
that one would be tough.
yeah, that one sucks. And then playing, I learned the Kid Charlemagne solo by Steely Dan, and that was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes that don't necessarily sound the hardest that actually end up being kind of tough.
yep, 100%.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
So when it comes to like your favorite songs, if you could recommend 3 licks from songs as warm-ups, what would they be? Just 3 licks from any 3 songs.
Yeah, okay. So I know I read this earlier, and I put down some licks ideas. So Sweet Child of Mine was a warm up before for Slash, and I think it's a good warm up. So I definitely gotta say Sweet Child of Mine. I have this weird. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I have this weird lick I play. It's like I don't know.
Oh,
I do
nice.
that. Kind of gets the fingers going. Um,
Yep. 30. Yep.
and then I was having trouble finding a third one. I mean, when I pick up a guitar, I guess you could do like Hey Joe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It gets, and then it just gets you doing a couple of different things, single notes plus some double stops and stuff. So yeah,
Yep.
let's go with that.
Somebody gave you the Italian hand.
Yes.
Yes. Supreme. Yeah, that's really cool. I kind of wish I asked you more questions about chords and chord shapes and stuff because you're a really chordy guy. You seem to have a lot of them in your head. So maybe follow-ups. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see at least 3 fan questions. B. Kephart says, "Have either of you checked out the PRS McCarty maybe 594 594?" I have
Yeah.
not. I don't own a PRS. I wish I did.
Oh, you will. You have to.
I
They're,
know all of mine, you know.
yeah. So this is a PRS McCarty 594, but it's the hollow body
Oh,
version. So if
594. That's
yeah, if you take away these F holes, that is exactly what that guitar is, except
got
hollow.
yeah.
So yeah, I would love to get. I like they have a McCarty, a regular McCarty, and they have this special 22, which has only two. It has a master tone and master volume
Hmm.
with the toggle for these. I like the four. You can see it. I like having a separate tone and volume for each pickup.
Hmm.
So that's what the 594 has, and it also has to do with the scale length, which is why it's called 594. Um, but I would love to get a solid body version, a heavier one. So once I save up a lot of money, maybe I can buy one. But
Yeah.
um,
Speaking it into existence.
exactly, yes, I would love to get one. But yes, amazing guitars. I've played tons of them.
Nice. Oh, I'm so jealous. I've seen plenty of PRS guitar
Yeah,
players live, and you can just tell when it's PRS. Honestly,
yeah.
it just sounds that good, you know.
They don't miss. They never miss.
Yeah. Let's see. Max Zero Live asks, or he says, Nick, you've got big dreams. It's obvious. What do you have to do or accomplish to make it to the next level? So I guess he's asking, like, what advice do you have for people trying to kind of climb that ladder themselves and guitar playing?
Yeah, so you just gotta practice and my thing is I just kept learning different songs that from artists I love. Um, just I spent a lot of my childhood just inside playing guitar rather than going out and doing stuff. That doesn't mean that you should do that, but definitely if you're dedicated, dedicate yourself. I try to play as much as I can, but you gotta really just like believe yourself. Um, just if you say you can't do something, you're not going to do it. It really it's true. Like I have friends who are touring guitar players and they're playing Madison Square Garden, and you know they never thought they could have done that, but it's if you think you can, you will find a way, and it's true. And I know it's hard, it's so cliche, and everyone says it, but it's true. It really is. So just laser focus. Hold on, I can't hear you. I think you
Oh, I'm sorry. I had
just
my,
mute yourself.
that was all me.
Cool.
No, I was just agreeing with you, you know, and I was just saying, because he said looking for something more specific. Sometimes it's not really. Sometimes everybody has their own unique path, but
Yeah, if I was gonna say one thing specifically, it would just be like
yeah,
find an artist you love, learn their music, and then just be open to other things. Don't be like, oh, they stink. Like really try to learn music. Learn chords, learn stuff. Play, just play. You don't even have to sit there and practice your scales. Just play. You know what I mean? Just make music.
yeah, keeping your hands moving, you know, just
Yeah.
not letting them get rusty.
Mhm.
All right. Somebody asked, or Sugar Covered Corpse asked, what's the music scene like in Boston? This was actually similar to one of my first questions, but I guess if you want to give a little recap on maybe some favorite shows that you've seen in Boston or,
Yeah,
any
totally.
shout out.
Um, Yeah, so there's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of Berkeley students who will play gigs around Boston, and of course they're killer. Super like technical, just shredders. A lot of great drummers I've met in Boston. Great guitar players. Um, it's everything. Like you can find, there's an underground hip hop scene. There's definitely a blues scene on the outskirts. You'll see a lot of 90s cover bands, at Loretta's Last Call, all that stuff. you know, so there's just always great music. It's just great music.
Yeah, when you were talking about the blues, I actually remember one time when I was in Boston, just out on the green, there was this like impressive blues band of like young players, older players just coming together for this improv. I was
Yeah,
like, everywhere you go has a niche of something.
yeah, it's completely normal to see that.
Right. Somebody commented breakfast. Not sure what that means, but I got the coffee here.
Yeah,
So,
I made some coffee. I had eggs for breakfast.
a British accent is coming out, or Scottish, whatever. A weird mix. But yeah. So I believe that is it for the fan questions. Trying to scroll up, I do not see any more, but we got quite a bit in there. I guess one question from me will be,
Yes.
this is very random, but what is your like most favorite chord to play right now? Might be a dumb question, but like,
Chord.
yeah,
My
like
favorite chord is E flat major 7.
nice.
And then go into like B flat major 7. My favorite key is either B major or B flat major. I've found, or
Mm-hmm.
F minor, or F minor.
F groovy, yeah. Do you ever like throw in Phrygian stuff like that? And like,
I don't know what that is.
it's okay. Like honestly, it's up and down the neck, but that is it. Like
I
everything.
remember I learned. Oh, I took me. This is so bad. If my old music teacher heard this, he would kill me. I I took theory in high school, and then I took AP music theory, which is advanced placement. I did terrible on the test, but
Uh,
I used to know the modes, and I just haven't. I need to relearn them. I
yeah,
love Bumblefoot.
full. They are, but not. They're not like super necessary, but they're useful at least for
Yeah.
improvisation. Bumblefoot just tuned in, so hey, what's good? What's good, Bumblefoot? We are actually just wrapping up because we did a 40 minute interview. And yeah, I'm probably gonna turn this. Well, I'm definitely gonna turn this one into a Guitar World article for you, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm currently working on like 4 or 5 that I sent over to my editor, so I'm kind of like bombarding him with stuff right now. So
I didn't tell my parents yet. I want to surprise them.
yeah, I'm gonna start working on this in the coming weeks. But you gave very detailed answers. Loved it.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
had a great time.
yeah, dude. Like, if you ever want to come on to like promote your stuff, just let me know.
Thank
I,
you. Likewise. Let you know if you ever have music coming out. Let me know.
yeah, dude. Always down to collab. You know that. I'm just over here chilling.
Yeah. And if I ever come to New York, which I will soon,
You
I'll
should.
let you know.
Yeah, 100%. We got a great scene. I go down to the city sometimes, but the city and upstate are different, but they're both cool, you know?
Are you not from New York City?
No, I'm literally kind of sort of next to a farm right now. You can see that fall tree out there.
Oh, yeah, that's something I miss about Boston is fall. Um, are you are you like what city? Like around what area? Like is it
So
really upstate?
it's more like central, I would say. Like imagine kind of towards Syracuse, kind of sort of, Syracuse basketball. It rings
Okay.
a people, but it's like that big orange guy.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. Okay.
4 hours in the city, but yeah, keep
Okay.
going, playing. We both play, so that's dope.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will stay tuned with your stuff. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. You've
Rock,
been great. And
thank
thank you for having me. It means a lot.
rock on, dude. Take care.
Peace out.
Woo.